All right, welcome back to Pro Shop. This week I am going to start the exhaust on the FJ Holden. Hopefully I'm going to finish it because this is probably going to be my last job in this factory because, as you know, we are moving. Yay! So I want to get this tacked together and welded as quickly as possible, really. So what I've done so far is Past Pete has made the extractors. Did these a few years ago. They're all welded. So now I'm going to start fitting all these components. All right, 3-inch 90s, got a whole bunch of them, a few 45s, couple, 2 meters of straight, got the 2 polished mufflers, the V-bands, these are the hangers, the mushroom bar, got the stainless one and the mild steel. So I'll use the mild steel on the car, stainless on the exhaust. All right, so now I'm gonna start building the X-pipe. Okay, so this is how I do my X-pipes. Start with a 45, going into a 90, then back to another 45, and then I'll just drill and notch some holes, clamp that together, put a few tacks on it for now, and then by cutting these legs down, I will not only bring this in, I'll also change this distance. All right, got that tacked up, and now what I want to do is just sit it up in place. But what's happening now is these pipes don't line up with the notches in the cross member. Now this isn't the cross member I built, and they're always out, even this cable is hitting. So just for now, I'm going to pop it out, and that way I can cut the cross member to fit around the tubes once it's all in. All right, just notched the cross member, got it back in, got these clamped in, just the full bend. No, I haven't cut it down at all, but I will have to bring it back a little bit just to get this bend more, well, away from the cross member here. And I do have to notch this anyway to put a V-band in here. So I'll cut some off that. And it's gonna bring the crossover pipe back a little bit, which will get it away from the tower shaft. Because I've got this up higher on top, kind of mimic this. I've got a 2.5-inch lowering box coming, so it's gonna come up a bit. And that's where where the tower shaft's gonna hang at its lowest point when it's, ever up in the air. Okay, so I brought it back about 20 mil. Had to cut off 50 to put the V-band in there. But now it's got some nice clearance. So now I'll do the other side. Okay, I come up pretty good. So now I'll set the X pipe up here and then mark the length that I'm going to cut. All right, so one thing I did is just tack on the 45s exiting the cross pipe. That way I can measure out to the chassis rails and I know that this is going to be square and centered, because if I put it up, if I put the X pipe just in there now, I'm gonna have to measure right out to here, and it's just gonna be a lot easier if I can bring it back. I can see that it's square on the chassis rails there. I can measure on the end here forward. Yeah, so plus, seeing that I tacked it on the bench, this is nice and flat. All right, and you can see what I mean. By putting these on here, I can just measure out to the chassis rail, make sure that is square. It'd be hard to get this end square with anything. So I can get that nice and even from side to side. And because I've laid it underneath it, all I really have to do is just position it and then put a mark here. I'll cut through there. All right, all that is tacked in. It's just sitting on a bit of wood, so that's nice and level. Got clearance to the mock tail shaft, and there's clearance all around here. So yeah, pretty happy. All right, I've got this side all tacked in. It was actually pretty easy. I just used 190 up here, and then I cut another 90 in half, so I used 45, and then the other 45 down there. 2 bits of straight. Yeah, muffler's just sitting in there for now. I'll make some hangers up, put a hanger up there, hanger up the front. I'll probably put another V-band in here somewhere. I'll play with the tip. All right, that side's got the V-band tacked on, got the rubber tacked on, and that one too. So it's all just sitting up there nice. Still got to do the tip, and I'll wait till I get the other one in. But all I want to do is just put the 90 in there and then sort of trim it to fit. However, it's going to look nice. So yeah, it looks good. Plenty of movement, plenty of clearance, which is good. So now I'll start on this side. Got the muffler in position, even to the other side, nice and level. And I'll start by, well, cutting a 90 into 2 45s. And I found a good way of marking it. It's pretty hard to try and find the center of this curve. And I know there are marking tools out there, but what I usually do is I'll take this over to my drop saw and I'll set this on 45, and then when I get this in position, I'll turn on the laser, and you can see if I move it this way or that way, eventually I'll find the center. And as long as that is flat, I can just put a couple of pen marks on that, flip it over, do the other side, and then I can take that over to my metal drop saw and cut it. All right, got the mufflers nice and level. I don't like it when I follow a car and I see the mufflers are one thing down lower than the other, or the tips off center. That's just me being pedantic, but well, that's me. So I've got this nice and level, and I've just got to do a hanger like I did on this side and one up here. So what I did was use the steel ones and just cut the thread into it. So I'll show you that in a second. And then just put a little dog leg in, heat it up, and tack that one on. And then this one, the same thing. I'll drill a hole through that, like I did up there, and bolt it through. So yeah, this is the steel mushroom bar, and I'll just cut it to length, put in the vise, and cut a thread into it. Alright, that's the first mount done. So that will just go in there. So I'll put that little flange and a return on it, just to stop it twisting while I do it up. I've done one up here as well. So I've just got to do this on this side now. So I drilled a hole, I'll weld that up in there. Before I plate this, I've got to cut a little bit more out, just on this side, just because the shifter cable is a little bit tight up in there. So I'll open that up, a bit more clearance. And then I've just got to put a 90 on this, and then trim that and tack it on, just like in this one. Okay, now just going to throw a few more tacks on this, because there's only about 3 or 4 tacks per join. So where I can get to it, just put some more, and then I'll pull it all off, back purge it, and TIG it up. So one thing I want to do just before I pull it off is actually weld as much as I can of this crossover pipe join. I have welded exhaust on the car, and I've used my bench and clamped it down and welded it. They both have good points and bad points. The good point about welding on the car is that if it does move, it's just going to go back into the same spot because it's all tied in. The bad part is that it's really hard to weld upside down sometimes. So I'm going to try it this way, which is just to weld this on the car now, let it cool down before I pull it off and then I'll clamp it all down and just weld on the bench around here. It's so much easier to weld around, and then flip it over and weld the other side. Okay, it's all tigged up. Welded these on. I finished the gearbox cross member, so plated it all, strengthened it, and yeah, sent it back. So it's all ready to go back in. I don't know if anyone noticed, but when I flipped it and started welding the other side, that the purge line fell out. There was enough gas in there, so it actually was all right. It just didn't have any positive pressure as I was welding. I probably should invest in some purge bungs, but yeah, there's so much stuff to buy. All right, so now I'll bolt this back in and all the way up, and then I'll just take one side off at a time, weld that up, put it back on, weld that up, and we're done. All right, last bit done. I haven't welded the hangers on all the muffler, just because I want to make the tip first, but I want to get all this back in and just make sure that the tip clears and trim that to fit. And when I'm happy with that, then I'll go and finish all welding them in. But yeah, we're done for now. All right, all back together now. Looking pretty good. This is pretty easy exhaust to do, this one. Managed to get the lowering blocks in, so the car's sitting nice. And then the last thing to do is weld these tips on, but I have run out of time. The tilt tray is on its way to pick this up, take it to the new place. Then I can pull the hoist down. The RBH has already left, and that hoist is down, pallet racking is down. I've got to take that over and set that up. The F truck, well, engineering is on its way, the certificate is on its way, and then I can get that registered. That can go. I've got to pull my metal rack down. I've got to get a crane truck in. They usually move my guillotine and folder. The guillotine weighs about 2 tons, so they come in here and lift that on. So once this is all clear, they can get in here and do that. I've still got to pack up a couple of my benches, This is the last week to get out of here. All right, I'm gonna wrap this video up now. Still got a lot to do, but one thing I wanna say before I leave is thank you for everyone commenting and messaging me, showing their support. Some people even offering to help me move. It's been fantastic. So thanks again. But we'll be back. Hopefully the next video will be in the new place, setting up, and we'll show you what's coming, because it's gonna be great. So as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.